A large craft envelope is going to provide the basis for the case. We're going to measure it 13.5 inches by 8 3/4 inches. This is the same material we used when we were building up the spine. The 13.5 inch length is divided into 3: 6 inches, 1.5 inches, and 6 inches. We use both bookboard and Esca board. The Esca board sheet proved to be extremely cost effective, as it measured 36 inches by 35 inches, and this divided into an even 24 pieces, each measuring 6 inches by 8 3/4 inches, with the long grain of the Esca board on the correct spine side. Two pieces of Esca board can now be glued down to the craft pattern. They measure 6 inches by 8 3/4 inches. A sheet of wax paper will help keep the level of mess under control. This project uses a piece of rough cotton muslin. It adds strength to the case, and it also provides an excellent gluing surface when attaching the leather. Now for the muslin. Smooth it flat, get all those wrinkles out. After a quick trim, we can put the case aside. We need to give it a chance to dry. In the meantime, it'll take a few hours to laser engrave the leather and add the acrylic. The smaller skins came from younger goats. The leather was a lot thinner, and it was subject to burning under the effects of the laser. We marked the pattern with a stick of clay. It's much like chalk, and it's easy to clean off afterwards. Leather traditionally works with hot stamping and gold foil. The problem is you need a lot of equipment, and you don't have the same freedom that you have to add illustrations and choose whatever font size you're happy with. Here we're adding a unique identifier. Every single book in the print run of the Darkling will have its own unique identifier, both on the leather and on the inside in a printed page. As far as we know, this is the only book this has ever been done for. Next, we start up the laser engraver software, then get the machine ready to burn the leather. Then we load the leather and clamp it down. After switching on the machine, we have to make sure the water pump is working. Pure water will run through the laser tube. This will keep it cool and will help extend its lifetime. This process is completely unique to the Darkling Authorized edition. It's got nothing whatsoever to do with normal bookbinding, and you may not need this information at all. As the laser burns its designs into the leather, it creates little patches of charcoal. The acrylic, which is put on later to emphasize the design, will adhere to the charcoal and stand out. The entire process for this size of design took just under 1 hour. As soon as it was done, the laser parked itself. Then it was time to move on to the acrylic phase. This can be done immediately. You can't see it here, but this is a metallic gold acrylic. The basic process is to lay it directly onto the design and as quickly as possible sweep off the major amount of acrylic and then work around the lines so you don't take too much off the design itself, and then dab it gently to remove remaining pieces of acrylic which have adhered inside the design. The removal of the acrylic is done with damp paper towels. The objective is to get as much as possible off the unburnt leather and to leave as much as possible remaining on the burnt charcoal patches of leather. You cannot do the whole design at once. You must do a portion of a design, finish it completely, and then move on to the next portion. This is because the acrylic dries very quickly. As soon as you finish this procedure, you can work with the leather on the next procedure. Even though the acrylic is not 100% dry, it will be hard enough that you can't disturb it, but you should ultimately give it 1 full day to cure completely. After that point, you won't be able to get the acrylic off without damaging the leather. There were different leather surfaces that had different results with the acrylic. It's better to get a surface that's as smooth as possible. Otherwise, you're going to have to work very quickly to get the acrylic out of the natural cracks and designs of the leather.